Hey folks, big breaking news this morning that is perfect for both employers and employees. It looks like we finally cracked the code on return to work. It's all about pool tables, yoga rooms, and ruthless managerial intimidation. Hey, good morning, folks. Mark from the Rational Workforce. And all right, yeah, I'm starting the day on a little bit of a sarcastic note. But as I was doing my morning kind of scroll through of what's going on in the news, I stumbled upon a piece from CBS News about return to work and return to the office. And it's a hot topic right now, right? If you're an employer, certainly if you're in the HR and HR technology space, and especially if you're an employee, you're probably caught up in this intense pressure to return to work and return to the office, and there are undeniably some benefits there. But then also, you've probably gotten used to a lifestyle where you're working from home. You've been doing it for a few years. You're kind of in your groove. You've probably found some great new ways to spend that time that you're not in the car commuting to work, right? It's a tough situation, and I absolutely empathize with everyone that's going through it on all sides of the equation. But there were certainly some ways to motivate people and to bring them back into the office that are better than others. And although I love seeing a kind of a major media, a mass media outlet start to cover this topic, they get some things right, and man, they're off base on some other things. So let's jump in and let's take a look. I will put a link to the actual article in the comments below. But here's the headline: a growing push from some U.S. companies for workers to return to the office. And there's a little video clip here I want to play for you, about 20 seconds, that will kind of frame things. So check it
Aren't you
out.
supposed to be at work?
We are at work.
Right now, Senior Manager Lupe Romo is working on his pool game.
How is this not a waste of time?
So these are partners of mine. This is an investment in people.
Exactly what CEO Ken Lin wants to see after 3 years of working from home.
We think there is more energy, there's more creativity, people work better together.
Awesome. So that's awesome. Good for you, Kenneth Lin. It's about creating an environment where people can collaborate and come together as a team. And the pool tables and the yoga rooms and things like that are nice little perks, but that's not what's driving the return to work, right? That's not what it's all about. It's about creating a culture, and understanding that, I think, is a big first part in getting the equation right. Now, if you go through the article, you'll see not everyone has gotten the memo, and I don't really want to throw darts at this gentleman here, the CEO of Clearlink. I don't know the company well. I don't know the CEO, but they picked a very unflattering snippet to cover. I got data that about 30 of you didn't even open or crack open laptops. And those are all remote employees, including their manager, for a whole month. Okay. That's a huge problem, right? If you've got employees that haven't cracked their laptop in a month and a manager enabling them, you got bigger problems. But think about the signal that sends to all of the other employees, right? The ones that are doing their job, the ones that are being productive, the ones that are delivering on a regular basis. It's that Big Brother is watching, right? So this technology nanny state is not the right way to go. And like, I don't know if you caught any of the TikTok videos of people that would rig these elaborate kind of Rube Goldberg devices during the pandemic, where they wanted to make sure that their team's activity light stayed green, but they also wanted to goof off. So folks rigged like a long stick to an oscillating fan, and that stick would constantly move across the glide pad on their laptop, so it looked like they were always present. I mean, there's going to be gamification. There's going to be people that take advantage of the system. That happens. But that's more of a managerial and motivation issue than anything else. It doesn't mean that you need to signal to the whole company, we're watching you, right? So let's dig into this article a little bit more. Interesting facts from an HBR study from 2020. 38% of managers either agree or strongly agree that performance of remote workers is usually lower than that of people who work in an office setting. 40% of respondents disagreed. 22% was unsure. So the majority of people either feel like work's getting done, they might not be 100% sure, but 38% is nothing to sneeze at in terms of folks that think that the remote worker productivity is low. And again, that in and of itself is not motivation for creating these back to work scenarios. I think again we go back to Kenneth, the CEO from Credit Karma here, is he definitely has the right approach, right? He is talking about creating an environment where people want to come into work, where people want to collaborate with other people. And, the draconian response, and we see another example of it here, this gentleman from a commercial real estate firm saying, I think it's going to take mandates. I think it's going to take, fear of losing their job. Now, when was the last time you did anything out of fear that led to good, positive, productive results? I can tell the times that when I was an employee and I was motivated by fear, what it really motivated me to do was find another job. And that's really the type of environment you're going to create by being so heavy-handed with it. And, the article closes out again with Lynn saying, I think people frame it the wrong way when they talk about return to office as a function of productivity or compensation. It's all about the culture that you want to work in. Amen, right? That's really what it's all about. It's about creating a place where people want to be together and bring their best. And, now we get into the situation of how do you create that, right? And my contention is you can't take a one-size-fits-all approach, right? You need to get to a place as an employer where you encourage managers, you encourage the individuals who are in leadership roles to get to know and to really know the people who report to them. And it doesn't mean you have to become besties with them and suddenly you're all hanging out together all the time. It means you have to understand what makes them tick. What are their motivations? What are their strengths and weaknesses? Where can you, as a manager, as an employer, help them to get on a career track they want to go, to learn new skills, right? And if you've got employees who see that you're investing in them, and I mean meaningful investment, right? Again, pool tables are great. It's not the same as, I understand that by working from home, you're able to meet your kid when he or she gets off the bus, or you're able to go to those baseball games or those dance recitals. That's so vitally important to bringing the whole person to work, right? God, if I hear one more story or article about being your whole authentic self at work, until you're at a point where you're making the type of arrangements and creating the type of work environment where people can really pursue those things and embrace those things and support the things that are important to them inside and outside of the four walls of the office, it's lip service, it's performative, right? So you can't get away from understanding what your employees want and creating that environment for them. It doesn't mean you bend over backwards. It doesn't mean you make crazy concessions. It doesn't mean that work doesn't get done. People are going to be more productive if they feel like they're working for someone who knows them, understands them, makes concessions for them when they need it, and allows them to pursue what's important to them. Now, the flip side of that equation, as an employee, you need to be able to speak up on that, right? You need to be able to advocate for yourself. You need to be able to clearly define what you want, what you expect, what you need, and most importantly, how you're going to meet the requirements of the job and how you're going to be able to achieve the goals that the company needs you to achieve, right? Like, this is work. This is still a vocation. This is still something that is an exchange of services for money, right? So you can't expect to have everything on a plate the way you want it to be. That's unrealistic. And, frankly, if that's where your head is at, you need to adjust that a little bit, right? Because it's still work. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a great litmus test as to whether or not that is a place where you want to build a career. Are you able to articulate these challenges or the opportunities or what you want out of life? And if so, is it being reciprocated? Are your managers and as the company working with you to make it happen? If not, maybe that's a great sign that perhaps you have to look someplace else to get the type of experience you want. If so, the payback is incredible. Trust me, I've seen it happen both as an individual contributor and then when I was a leader as well. individuals who kind of stood up and said, this is what I want, this is what I need, how can we make it work together? I mean, that creates a win-win environment for everybody. So definitely put in the pool tables, definitely put in the coffee shops, like all of that stuff is great. But if you really want to create an environment where employees are drawn to come back in to your organization and want to spend time with other people, it goes beyond the four walls of a building. It goes beyond a physical address. You need to meet them in the middle, and employees have a responsibility in this too, right? So anyway, thought that was an interesting piece for you to check out. If you like this video, if you'd like to see more of them, please click like and subscribe below. It means a lot as we're starting to build up some traffic for the channel. If there's other topics you want to cover, man, I want to hear about that too. Like, this should be a resource for you as much as it is an outlet for me. So with that, I'm going to sign off for the day. Thanks everyone for your time, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow with our next video. Take care, folks.